They want me to solve this thing. Okay, the difference with 6, it's only one small difference. They have an equal sign. And so that means you need to finish the problems at the end. What I mean is, if they didn't have an equal sign like that, that's what we've been doing the last 2 weeks. You know, just the parentheses, no equal. The only new thing tonight is the equal sign is new. That's the new thing. And what that means is at the end, get x alone. That's all it means. So everything's going to be the same. Really nothing new in this section. It's all the same factoring that you've been doing 6.1 through 6.5, you know. It's just at the very end you just need to get x alone because it has an equal sign. Won't be a problem on the test because tests will be multiple choice, so you'll see that at the end they got x alone in all the options, you know, you'll know. So yeah, so if I want to get x alone, what you do is you just take each one by itself, like that. I'll put or in the middle. You just take each one equal to 0. Have you seen that kind of thing before? Why is that okay? I mean, why logically, why reasonably, rather than just some math teacher says so or some math book says so? Why, you know, that'd be boring and hard to remember. Why can you have this stuff 1 equals 0 leads to 2 separate equals 0? Why is that reasonable? Why does that make sense? What if I told you, hey, I'm timesing 2 numbers in my head, answer's coming out 0? What do you know about my numbers? If I'm thinking of 2 numbers in my head, okay, I am, and I'm timesing them together and it's coming out to equal 0. We're timesing, right? So how do you times? I'm not adding. If I was adding, then a positive number and a negative number would add to be 0, but I'm not adding. I'm timesing. How do you times 2 things to make them come out 0? Yeah, either the first one could be 0, because 0 times anything would be 0, huh? Or the second one could be 0, because anything times 0 would be 0, right? That means either one could be 0 to make that true, doesn't it? Well, that's all we're doing there. That's what the whole section's about. It's so in other words, because this is something times something is equaling 0. Well, that means either the first one's 0 or the second one's 0, right? Because if either one is 0 when they times, right? Parentheses mean times, then it'll be 0. That's all that's happening there. That's why that makes sense. Okay. So then what? Well, then you just finish each one. You just say, okay, how do I get, because of the equals, you know, equals means we've got to, at the end, get x alone. So I got to get x alone. How do I get x all by itself here? What do I do to this equation? Add the 6, or you could just jump it if you want to save time. Just jump that -6. What happens when something jumps over the equal sign? Opposite. It's going to be +6, right? I just added 6 to both sides, or jumped it. Same thing. Same thing here. Jump it. So it's -6. So our answers are +6 and -6. Done. Is that good? So you just each one equals 0 because the 2 things are times and to be 0, either one could be 0. To make that true. All right. Shall we try another one? So
wait a minute, Mr.
It's over. No. What do you got, Manuel?
That one, when we put it on the computer and the program.
Yeah, just with a comma.
Put it inside the parentheses.
No parentheses. Good question. No parentheses needed. Yeah, good. No parentheses. It's not a graphing or anything. I know we've been doing that before. Just list them just with a comma. Either order doesn't matter, but you got to have a comma in between them. Okay. So number 2. X plus 3, x plus 12 equals 0. Okay. Can you just tell me the answers by just looking at it?
-3, -12.
Yeah, it's just going to be opposite, isn't it? And that's totally fine if you want to just skip to that. I'll do it more thoroughly, but yeah, you're totally right. Each one equals 0. That's reasonable because the 2 things times to be 0. Either one could be 0. So then just jump it over, opposite. So -3, -12, done. Either order, you can put -12 first, doesn't matter. Just a comma, no parentheses. So it's really not much new. Let's go to number 3. 6x, x minus 5. Okay, so I'll put it down here. So number 3. 6x, x minus 5 equals 0. Same thing there. The first one in this case is 6x. And the second one's x minus 5. So set 6x equal to 0. And x minus 5 equal to 0, then just solve them both. So the first one is 0, or the second one. Is that making sense? It's the same thinking. You know, if we're timesing two things at 0, either one could be 0. Now, how do we finish this one? I can't just jump the 6 over. That jump thing is added, subtracted. I don't know if I've said that clear. Maybe I shouldn't take that shortcut. I'm trying to save you time. The jump thing is like, we'll jump that one because he's added, subtracted. That's what I mean by jump, and I really mean add it or subtract it to the other side, saving time. But that 6, we can't jump him. He's not added, subtracted. How do we get rid of this 6? Divide it, right? Because it's times at 6 times x. So him will have to divide. And what is 0 over 6? That's just 0, huh? And then the other one, I will jump it or add 5 to both sides. Same thing. So the answers are 0, comma 5. Those are the two numbers. Hey, are they right, by the way? Are those really the two numbers that make that equation true? Meaning if x is 0, x is only one thing at a time. Even though we have two answers, we're saying x in both places could be 0 or both places be 5, and that equation would be true. Is that right? Is 6 times 0 times, what's 0 minus 5? Negative 5. 6 times 0 times minus 5, is that 0? Well, yeah, anything times 0. 6 times 0 is 0 times anything is 0. So that's true. Yeah, I mean, we should have seen that one coming, huh? 0 is an answer. Now, is 5 an answer? If x is 5 in both locations, does that make it true? 6 times 5 is 30 times 0. 5 minus 5. Yeah, that's 0. Yeah, those are the answers. Those are the x values that would make that equation true. That's what we're doing, right? Finding what makes the equation true. Good so far? Okay. The answer's right in front of you, but let's see how they got it. So so let me just, what would be the easiest way? I could write it up on the board, yeah. So let me, well, here, I'll write it here and I'll put it on the board also. Here's the x squared plan. Step 1, so whenever you have x squared, see how we have x squared here? So when you see x squared plan, get a 0 on one side. That's your first step. This one already has a 0, so not needed. But in a minute, we'll be needing to do that. Get a 0 on one side. Factor the other side, like with parentheses, you know. And then step 3, each part equals 0 and solve. So that's the game. So, yeah, I should have said x squared with an equal sign plan. So when you have x squared and you have an equal sign, this is the plan. So let's do that. So step 1, get a 0. That's we already got a 0. Step 2, factor. So that means we've got to take this left side and we've got to factor. You guys are factoring pros now, huh? What's the first step on any factoring problem? GCF. Good. Glad to hear that in unison. Yeah, so what's the GCF there? X. Take it out. Leave the 0 over there. And what goes on the inside to make it go back? X plus 21, right? So that's really step 2, factor, because it already had the 0. Step 1, get a 0. It already had it. Step 2, factor. We did. Now what do you do in step 3? Each part equals 0. So take the x alone equals 0, or the x plus 21. Each part gets its own 0, and then you just solve. So this one's done already. This one, just jump it over, you know, negative 21. So the answers are 0 and negative 21, which we already knew. Good. So it's mainly factoring. And you guys are good at factoring after all those sections. The main work is factoring, but just a little cherry on the top at the end. Just a little get x alone. All right. I'll move on. If you're okay, feel free to start. Okay, so try number 9. I've already got the answers there to help out. Try number 9. So this one is a little weird. So let me jump in. First thing is you're going to have to multiply those, you know, and you're going to get x squared. 5x squared. 5x squared minus 9x is 14. That good to there? And then as soon as you see x squared, as soon as x squared rears its ugly head, I don't know why I always picture x squared as some sea monster thing, but as soon as it rears its ugly head, you think, get a 0. It's got to be just like a knee-jerk reaction, especially in the future of this class. This is something we'll use a ton of in the months to come. We'll do this a ton, and I'll try to say, my little saying, when X, it's like you're out on the ocean for a day with a sailboat, and all of a sudden the sea monster rears its ugly head. So in the middle of the problem, X squared shows up all of a sudden. You guys just go right into the get a zero factor. It's just automatically the game plan all semester long. You see X squared with an equal sign. Get a zero. Now, which means you're going to jump that 14 this way, huh? To get a zero. So we'll have 5x squared minus 9. So what will happen to that 14 when he jumps over the equal sign? Minus 14. Good job. And now we have to factor. So there's step 1, get a 0. Right? When you see x squared with an equal sign, step 1, get a 0. Got it. Check. There's my 0. Step 2, factor with the parentheses. Now, how are you going to factor that one? It's not a double-double or triple-triple because it's not 2 terms, it's 3. Are you getting the hang of the different kinds of factoring now? So we warmed up from 6 to 6:30 with 2-term double-doubles and 2-term triple-triple, right? It's 2 terms. Because you already knew quite well how to handle 3-termers. This is a 3-termer. What do you do with 3-termers? The FOIL. The FOIL thing. That's all we ever do. So go ahead and do FOIL on this one. F-O-I in the middle, L. Right? With 2 parentheses, front times front, last times last, the 2 little happy face arcs. The OI, make sure that's working. Right? On that.
Times negative 14? So 5 times 14.
We got it right there. X minus 5, that's 1. Now we need to add the 14.
Oh, it's negative 7. Yeah, because but you have to factor these out. So
the thing with lens bias, it's like it tastes good at first.
You know all that come from X minus X. This one we have 3 terms, so I think the 3 terms go to 0. No?
Yeah, I know. Good questions brought up. You might just get on the video slide and divide method. That's what I did last semester. You might know some other method, bow tie, and that's fine. I don't care. Do whatever you want. I would counsel you that it'd be best to do this method because I'm just going to reinforce it. You'll see it again and again and again and again. I know some of those other methods, bow tie, slide and divide, they seem good at first. They handle the easy ones easy, but the hard ones they don't handle. Anyway, do whatever you want. I'd encourage you just to go with this method with the 2 parentheses, right, equals 0, and I'm going to write F-O-I-L, FOIL, right? I really do think you can get super good at this with some practice. So what times what? You know, front times front to make 5x squared.
5x and x.
5x and x. Right? We good? 5x times x makes 5x squared? Okay. And last, now you jump to the L. Remember, say the OI. At the end, we'll do the OI. Last times last to be 14. What times what is 14?
2 and 7.
2 and 7. 2 and probably 2 and remember, don't start with 1 and 14. Always start with the numbers closer together. It's usually the numbers closer together. It might be 1 and 14, but it's probably 2 and 7. Now, is it 2 and 7 in that order? It turns out no. But how do we? It's actually the other way. But wait, oh no, it's not 2 and 7. Oh, it is 1 and 14, isn't it? This is a 1 and 14. It's not 2 and 7 either. Anyway, I'm doing all this in my head. Let's carry this forward and we'll see. So you put down the 2 and the 7. And then, and no signs yet, no pluses or minuses, remember? How do you know if it's right? You got to do the OI, the middle, which is the 2 inner, the 2 outer. It's pretty quick, right? The 2 inner is 2x. Use your calculator, 5 times 7, 35. Down here you want the middle, minus 9x. Right, I grab the middle, put it right there. Can 2 and 35 in any way, shape, or form make minus 9? No way. So then what do we do to try to fix it right away? So that's not it. What do we do? Swap the order on the back 2. It's not going to work either. Put the 7 here, the 2 there. Now, the 2 inside one's 7x, right? The 2 outside one's 10x. They can't make minus 9 either. Right? They make 3 or 17 if you add them or subtract them. Do you guys see what I'm saying? See how the 2 and 7's not working in either order? Does that make sense? You really getting the hang of this way of looking at FOIL? Now, what else is there instead of 7 and 2? 14 and 1. Now, it's not this way. Well, actually, it is that way. Yeah, I'll just do it right. Quit fooling around. It is this way. So the 2 inner make 14x. The 2 outer make 5. Can they make minus 9? Yes, they can. Right? Now, how do we do now? For the first time, I'm going to put in the pluses and the minuses. Where do they go? What's the rule?
The first sign.
Sign in the middle goes on the bigger. 14's the bigger. Bigger than 5, huh? Minus 14 plus 5 makes minus 9, huh? You see, that sign in the middle is always taken by the bigger. You guys tracking with me? Is this making sense? Is that good?
5 is plus. Sign is minus.
So if you're having trouble with this, go back and, I have a bunch of them on YouTube from, this is back in section, what was it, 6.3 or something? I don't remember, 6.4, one of those. And practice over and over again. I think it was 6.3. It was 6.3. Yeah, so go back and practice 6.3. You can do those again and again, those ones on YouTube. So the sign, so then this sign goes straight up there, right? And the plus goes to the back, like that. Now, normally we're done here. But because of the equal sign, we have one more step. Are we good to hear, though? You comfortable with the FOIL factoring, what we always do for 3-termers? How do you know when you're supposed to do this whole FOIL thing? There's 3 terms. 3 terms. It's all about terms. If there's 2 terms, it's either double, double, or triple, triple. There's 3 terms, it's always FOIL. So 3 terms. 3 terms is always FOIL. On that. Okay. So, all right. So now, what do we do from here? Well, step 3, each one gets their own 0, right? So 5x minus 14 gets a 0. And then x plus 1 gets a 0, right? Because they're 2 things timesing to be 0, so either one could be 0. And now we finish solving each of those, right? Each gets their own 0 and solve. So how do we solve this one? Jump the minus 14 over. 14 divide by 5, 14 fifths, which is what they said. This one, jump it over, negative 1, as they said. We're done. Is that making sense? How are we doing?
That's the answer.
Those are the 2 answers, yeah. Is that good? So you really have to learn factoring to go forward in this class. Factoring is the foundation of everything we're going to do. And that's how math always is. So I just, I want to be helpful to you. I don't want to be doomsday, but you want the truth, right? The truth is you've got to learn this to go forward. So don't think, I think where people get in trouble in math is they think, I sort of got it a little, kind of, and I'll just do the best I can and go forward. Well, you got to learn it because it builds. We'll assume you can do this in chapter 7, and we'll use it just to keep going on the other problems. If you can't do it well, you won't be able to even begin the other problems, and it just goes that way, right? And you can, the magic ingredient is time. Time. There's all kinds of problems out there on YouTube. You can go back over those YouTube problems in 6.3 and redo them all again. And just take a blank piece of paper, look at the question, try it on your own, you get stuck, watch me do it on YouTube, try it again, do the next one, back and forth, back and forth. Math Excel will give you all kinds of new ones. You can ask for new ones. You go back into homework, you got 100% on, go back in for practice, it'll make new ones for you. Right? And we have the tutoring center, but it's all time. It's time. But that is the magic ingredient, and you have to learn that stuff to go forward. That's what happens to people, is they sort of half learn it, they're busy, they try to go forward, they never really learn to factor or whatever, and then the next step, pretty soon after a month, they're just gone. Because they don't know, in a week, I'm just going to do this in 2 seconds, and assume you're good, and move on with the bigger things. And if you're still not good, you're just done. I don't want that for you, so I'm telling you straight up. That's how math works. It's a language. It's like we're learning Chinese here. It builds, right? You gotta know the verbs. We're gonna do stuff with them. So make sure you learn, especially factoring, especially chapter. This is the overlap. I don't know if you know from Math 61 and 63. This is the one chapter we do in both classes because it's so foundational. Factoring is the foundation of the rest of the stuff. All right, so let's move on here. Remember the steps. You've already got a 0, huh? So step 1, remember the 3 step when you have an x squared with an equals, I'm seeing x squared and I'm seeing an equals. That's the sea monster, right? When it rears its ugly head, x squared with an equal sign. Step number 1 is get a 0, but that's done. Step number 2, factor. Now you might say, well, it is. It's got its parentheses. Yeah, except this part can go further. So the 3x plus 2, he's good. He's going to be there. But then the other part, break into 2. So we're going to end up with 3 parentheses on this one. Does that make sense? The 2x squared minus 9x minus 5 is going to break into 2. It's 3 terms, so we know we're doing FOIL again.
Oh,
So let's try FOIL one more time. That's the 2 parentheses. Front times front, last times last. We can do it.
The one on the outside we're giving like it is.
Yes.
3x plus 2, and then factor the others. And it's 2, 4. So that's going to be the same. Okay.
So front times front to make 2x squared. 2x, regular x. Last times last to make 5. Daniel. Question? Yeah. Okay, yeah. I'll be back. I'll circulate in a little bit. But feel free to check with those around you as well. Everybody check with your neighbors, and I'll circulate best I can too. So last times last to be 5. What times what's 5? Well, 5 times 1, huh? But it's not that order, is it? It's the other order. How do you know? Well, you check the OI, right? You check the 2 inner, 2 outer, and you'll see the 2 inner make 5x, the 2 outer make 2x. No way they're going to make the middle, which is minus 9x. 5 and 2 can't make 9. Minus 9, right? So then what do you do right away? Swap the order on the back 2, huh? Remember, because the order in the back 2 matters. So you got to put the 1 here and a 5. Why does it matter? Because there's different things in the front. One of them's a 2x, one of them's a regular x. If the fronts were the same, the order wouldn't matter. All right, so now the 2 inner make 1x, the 2 outer make 10. Yeah, they can do negative 9, can't they? See how that's right now that I swapped the order? They do have a way. So how do you do it? No signs. Now it's time for the signs. What's the rule on the signs? Sign in the middle goes to the bigger, always. So who's bigger? The 10 is bigger than the 1, right? So minus in the middle, minus on the bigger. So plus 1 minus 10. And the plus goes right there. Minus goes there. Good to there? Is that good? Now what do? Each one, right? Step 1, get a 0. It already had that. Step 2, factor. We got it. Step 3, each one gets its own 0 and solve. So that means every one of these. So 3x plus 2 is 0, and 2x plus 1 is 0, and x minus 5 is 0. All 3 of them equal 0, and then solve it. So move the 2 over, negative 2 divided by 3, boom. Move the 1 over, so negative 1 divided by 2, move the 5 over. There's the 3 answers, just put commas between them. Any order. Is that good? Does it make sense? So it's really just factoring, isn't it? With a little cherry on the top at the end. We just do a little get x alone at the end. That's really not a lot. Most of it is old stuff, most of the section. Questions? Good. Start with that one. So, in fact, let me just rewrite it where it's bigger for you. 7x squared plus 2x minus 11 plus 2x minus 11. 37 minus 32x. Okay, so there we go. What's the, and the answers are, we're looking for 8/7 and -6. First step, whenever you see x squared rear its ugly head, what's step number 1? Get a 0. So that means this guy's got to go over, and this guy's got to go over, huh? They switch signs when they jump over, don't they? Why am I doing that? Because I've got to get 0 on the right side. That means whatever's on the right side must leave. Right? That making sense? That's how I'm going to get 0 over there, is everybody's going to leave there. Right? So when they jump over, all the stuff that's already there just stays put. And then you bring this stuff over, minus 37 plus 32x. Does that make sense? See how they switched signs when they jumped over? And now combine like terms. So like terms need to combine, right? Meaning this and this. The plain x with the plain x and the number with the number. You with me? So 7x squared, 2x and 32x is 34x. And then these two need to combine, minus 48. Now, why minus? Let's hold on and look at that for a second. Why does, again, you might think 2 minuses make plus. Hear me. 2 minuses make plus when?
Multiplication.
Multiply or divide, not add, subtract. Right? We good with that? You really need to know that. So 2 negatives, yeah, multiply or divide, they make positive. But when it comes to adding, subtracting, think money or football, gains and losses, you know? So like if you lose $11 in your bank account and then lose $37, you've lost $48. Right? That's the story of my life right now. I've got kids in college. I just lose money. Anyway, right? Negative loss. Just a loss and a loss is a big old loss, right? It's not a positive. Isn't that good? That's for adding and subtracting. Just think money or football. You're running back, loses 11 yards, loses 37, and lost 48. Whatever works for you. Okay, is that good? And then now, this is foil. We're going to do foil there. Foil on that. So do the foil thing. So, what's going on with my pen? Oh. Okay, so do the foil thing there. So the parentheses, FOIL, front times front. Last times last, what was it? 8 and 6. The 2 inner is 8x. The 2 outers, 4. They got to make the middle plus 34. Sign in the middle, sign in the bigger. So that's there, that's plus. And then remember what you do, you just set each one equal to 0. So then 7x minus 8 is 0, or x plus 6 is 0. You just finish them up from there, right? Jump this over. What do we get? 7x is positive 8, right? Divide by 7, there it is. Jump it over. Negative 6, positive 8/7. We're done. All right, that section is